Oh, is it rustling? I might move it a bit more. Is it better here?
Way better.
Okay, cool. What differences have you noticed between your friendships with men and with women?
So I have noticed, so I have like 50% male friends and 50% female friends. I find that I form closer friendships with women.
I think with my friendships with men, I think you have to be more proactive in terms of getting them to be candid and open up and talk about things.
With men, or some of the men I've encountered, I definitely find that they factor attraction a lot into whether they pick their female friends. Obviously not all of them. You're so deep in the friend zone. You won't get out here.
I find it easier to sort of form quick friendships with men.
I think I settle into honesty quicker with women.
I turn into a bit more of a protector when I'm like with my female friends, for instance. And with my male friends, it's just we party more and we maybe drink a bit too much every now and then.
Would you feel fulfilled by your friendships if you were only friends with women? What about if you were only friends with men?
Perhaps if all of my friends were men, I don't know. Would I perhaps be like a stereotypical tomboy Outer Banks, like cut off shots, like, oh my God, this and that? Then again, is that me being narrow-minded? If I'm thinking about it, then probably not.
Okay.
You kind of look for different things and you stress about different things than men sometimes, purely because of biology. So, what was the initial question?
In your experience, have you ever felt used by people for emotional support and felt like a venting vessel? If so, how did it make you feel?
Absolutely. I often felt like that. However, more so by women.
I don't know if that's a term, but like emotionally violated, like being used for something that I don't feel I had any say in by just kind of being dumped upon.
I think emotional support is super important. I'm very happy to give it to all my friends, but I do also kind of want them to provide it for me when I need it. Never overuse it, but at times I think it's nice to be sure that you can get it from your friends.
I think if you want to vent to someone, you should be like, hey, do you have the mind space or the time right now to deal with this? And then possibly unload. But I'm not able to always listen because I'm struggling as well sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I don't have that space sometimes. And yeah. Mm.
Dania, take one.
Thank you.
Perfect. Do you think there's a problem with women being expected to do emotional labour in their friendships? And do you think women are respected for having these skills?
I think sometimes, yes, women are viewed to be the emotional crutch, right? So this can lead to emotional dumping. So I think there's a lot of pressure on women's shoulders, you know, to be this emotional crutch. And of course, we want to be there for our friends, right? We want to support them, we want to listen. However, being the only emotional crutch in someone's life, it's extremely draining, extremely. As for, whether I think that we're respected or not, absolutely not.
What limitations are placed on when you're allowed to be vulnerable?
I think a lot of limitations like that are also placed on people from their friends, from their guy friends specifically.
I might go to a woman to get some help, because a lot of the guys, if you're being honest with them, they think that you're like flirting with them or interested with them in them in that way.
There's a thing to be said about toxic masculinity of just being like, what's up, bro? And like just that being the culture of how you should interact because you're a man.
My willingness to be physically open and hug and kiss friends was kind of mocked, again in that way where it's, you know, it's played off as a joke, but you know it's reinforcing kind of these cultural norms.
I mean, we have very little time with each other, so if we could just learn one thing from women, it might be that, you know, speeding up that trust process might be worth it.
Growing up, a lot of my burdens, my emotional burdens, I gave to the females, the women in my family, like my sisters or my mom or some of my aunts, and it got too much at times.
What are the differences between how men and women express vulnerability?
I don't think we should really focus on the key differences here. I think we should really focus on the frequency with which men express the vulnerability. I think that with love, for example, you know, there are many ways we can express it, but vulnerability, I think, requires us to expose ourselves, expose our needs, expose our emotions to a certain extent. And I think men can definitely do that, as long as they feel comfortable enough to do so.
Do you think there are spaces that exist currently where men feel like they can be vulnerable?
Do you mean like physical spaces?
I don't know. For starters, I don't know like many spaces that are specifically catered to men that aren't centered around consumption.
I would say, if anything, the place where a man can be most vulnerable is sort of in their own home. My room is my castle kind of thing.
What do you think about the portrayal of all male friend groups in the media? Is it accurate?
I've never found myself fully represented in any piece of media in terms of friendship. Like, no.
What would you like to see change in the way men interact with each other?
I just want men to be more intimate with each other. Like, even physical contact is like people need to be touched. And I feel like a lot of men sometimes are also so touch-starved that they expect all of their touch to come from their partner.
I'd like to see more men hugging and kissing. I think physical touch is such a lovely way of indicating passion and friendship.
If me and a guy friend are having a nice, honest conversation and then there's some physical contact, they might clam up.
Because I find that when men interact, at least on an emotional level, it's either because they're picking a fight or they're just being incredibly happy, but just the extremes. And I'd like to see more delicate emotions.
Especially in high school when you play rugby together, it's weird, but you have like very intimate conversations before you're about to lose a game and you have to win. And you know, you treat these people as if you would treat like people that you'd be intimate with in that moment. But yet outside of that, it's like, oh, okay, we were intimate during the game, but after that, let's just have a beer.
But I wish in general they didn't see bodies interacting as an inherently sexual or romantic thing.
I don't think men necessarily engage on all of those levels that leaves us feeling full as human beings. Like, we need that. Sometimes we need a little touch, either on the hand or the shoulder or the back, like just for reassurance and to know that someone is present with us, that someone cares for us. You know, like, all human beings need that, and rarely do I see that kind of exchange in men.
And lastly, what do boys do at sleepovers?
Okay, there's a lot of things.
Well, I hope they have a great time and I hope they paint their nails.
We don't paint our nails.
Playing video games, and that's a stereotype.
Smoke weed, eat pizza, fall asleep, play video games.
We just talk about general things, you know, we like have a laugh, talk about like what we're going to be planning to do in the next few months, like how we're trying to bet ourselves.
Male pillow fighting would get very aggressive and competitive, so it's kind of like a problem.
Fight club, sleepover with
Fight
pillows.
club with pillows, we don't talk about it.
Which sometimes is an uncomfortable conversation when you have at a sleepover, because you know that you have to spend the night with someone, even if it's an awkward conversation, and then wake up knowing that you had that kind of discussion.
I would say boys trust each other at sleepovers.
I mean, I suppose with everything, I suppose it depends on who's invited.